everyone. Today we have with us Sakura Yabuki. Sakura is a student at, is it Waiakea?
Yeah, Waiakea,
Waiakea Inter?
high school.
Waiakea High School. And today she'll be sharing with us her experience in designing a face shield specifically for our Keiki. Um, Sakura, can you tell us a little about yourself and how you got involved in the creation of the face shields?
Okay, so I'm a student at Waiakea, like you said, and I'm going into my sophomore year. So I'm 15 right now, and not July, in June I did a early college class, IS 101, and in that class it required me to do a community service project, which they called the South End Community Project. And in that, I had to complete 6 to 8 hours of community service. And because of the coronavirus, it was a little bit harder because a lot of the options were limited due to social distancing. So I wanted to originally do something with my school, Volcano School, my old school. And so I ended up emailing Miss Kim at the end, and she proposed the idea of making face shields. So we met for lunch and then we discussed the supplies. And afterwards, we were thinking of just going to the school and making them. But instead, we ended up just handing me the supplies. And then I went home and designed it and then made the face shields. Hi, I'm Sakura and I'm going to show you how to make this face shield. So this face shield is very basic, very easy to make. There are 3 foam blocks, which I'll get to later, and then there is an elastic which is just stapled on to a lamination sheet. So each block here is made from a Layerdale head immobilization kit from this foam, which is the felt side and then the adhesive side. And this is more of a stiffer foam, which is why I made these spaces in between, which are 1-inch gaps. So it has better bend and it's much more comfortable. So the additional plus to these spaces in between is that it lets the air rise through, which means it reduces the fogging up of these compared to something like this. And something like this too can only make about 6 out of one of these. So compared to that, this one makes about 20 out of one of these. So it's a pretty significant difference if you're making these for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, what I heard you say was that you started out with a big block of foam, and then for it to be Keiki size, you had to cut it down to a shorter version. But because of the stiffness of the foam, it was hard for it to wrap around the head, and for it to actually wrap around the head would require a lot of pressure, right? Like the band would have to be very tight. So
Yeah.
it sounded like you went from, a longer piece of foam to a smaller piece of foam, and then you figured out, okay, it's not going to work. How do I make it more flexible? And then you came up with this.
Yeah.
It's good. It's the process of iteration, right? It's like experimentation. You keep iterating it or coming up with different versions until you come up with something that is final. How did you go? So once you got this design, how did you get to the point where you decided, this is good enough to make 80 plus units for the volcano school? Uh, how did you finalize the design before making all 80 of them or 87 of them?
Yeah, so originally I really did I drew a lot of like little designs and then I thought about it. So I made one like a prototype and then just like saw how it would fit more and I really just tested it on my leg because I don't have like a
On your
5-year-old
leg?
sibling. Yeah.
Okay.
And I
I
couldn't
assume
find
that's
like
because you did, I'm assuming that's because you didn't have any kids around.
yeah. And
Okay.
so I took a photo and then I sent it to Miss Kim and then that was really the basis. She just like gave me approval and that was about it. Okay, so here we have this 5 mil laminated lamination sheet. So lamination sheet that just has been run through the laminator. 3 mil works too, but it's just not as strong. So here we have this, and then we have the foam sheet where I marked out the 1 inch by 1 inch. And then here I have some elastic, Sharpie, box knife, and then staple. Okay, so I'm just gonna move this to the side. Oh, and this is a foam sheet, which I'll talk about later. So I'm just gonna get another lamination sheet because I don't want to cut directly into my table. And we're just gonna cut along these lines to make 1 inch cubes, basically. And I found that one long stroke has been best to cut these. So then this way. So we only need 3, but if you have a, say, bigger forehead or like the fit of 4, then you could use more. I'm just gonna use 3 and then move this to the side. So now we have to attach these little foam cubes on. So because I made a lot of these before, I made this sort of template thing. So it just has the middle point where I just measured 1 inch out. And this lamination sheet is 11.5 by 9 inches. So half of 11.5 is 5 3/4. So there's just 5 3/4 in on this paper. And then I measured half an inch out from the middle point, and then an inch space, and then another inch. So from this, I'm just gonna line up. Oh, and this baseline just has a 1/2 inch from the bottom of the sheet. So I'm just gonna line this up, and then peel back. I'm gonna peel back the plastic from the adhesive, and then line it up with one at the bottom of these, and then just place it on. Very simple. Second one. I did not cut these cubes a little straight. I didn't cut these cubes very straight. A little annoys me, but it's okay. There. So now that these are attached, there's just 3 in the middle. So now we're gonna take this elastic. I'm going to measure this around my head and then just like loosely, not pull it out or anything, and then minus the 5 inches that's here. So here's about loosely, and then from here I'm just going to measure it over, test it around my head again, just to make sure. And that, for me, I feel like might be a little tight. So I would say I'll go a little bit bigger than you'd expect, just to make sure. So here I'm just gonna add like maybe another 3/4 of an inch. Then I'm gonna grab my scissors and then cut it. Put that to the side. And so now I'm gonna staple this on. A thing I've noticed is that with, I say like a little bit lower quality elastic or things that aren't knit tightly, they can fray. So for that, I would just fold it in about 1/4 of an inch in, and then staple it on with something like this, where it just gets folded in. See that? Oh no, I just folded it in. and then rather than keeping it outward, because with pull it can fray, so I fold it in. So for this, I fold it towards me just so that it's easier to staple on, it's more controlled. And then I take the staple and just staple it on. And make sure the bottom side of the staple is facing outward, just so that it like helps from touching your head or anything, to prevent any scratches. So then I'm doing the other side, folding it down inward. Make sure I didn't twist it, and then stapling it. So then here we have this. I'm gonna test this on just to make sure it fits me. So it fits me. I can't really show you because my camera is facing downward right now, but fits pretty comfortably. It's not too tight. And so with something like this, it has the 3 points, and I can get that sometimes it could get a little bit uncomfortable. So here I have a foam sheet where you can cut inch cubes and to just like tacky glue them on, or cut a 1 inch by 5 inch strip and glue that on fully. I actually need this foam for something else, so I'm not going to do that, but this is the final product. Pretty simple, very basic. And then because when it's on your head, it's just flat, well, mainly flat. These sides stick out, so for a better fit, you would just staple it on here. Just pull the plastic in and staple it on. For this one, I'm gonna go staple it on this way just because it's easier this way. Staple that, and then this side on. I find this also to be better when I'm making multiple because it doesn't bend when I'm stacking them. So it's just easier to stack when I'm making more. So here it's tight and fitted. So that's it. Let's test this. So it fits as it should. It's curved in. This is the front side, and then this is the back. Very basic, very easy to make.
Excellent. So have those completed shields been delivered to the school already?
Yes. I did that in June or like earlier this month.
I hope you're appreciative of the fact that the work, the product of your work, right? The design and the heavy lifting, coming up with 80 plus units is going to serve the school well and help keep according to our conversations with Kim, there's a need for that to ensure that especially the younger students are able to get through the school year well. I'll have to say that when I learned that you had from Gail that you had already put this together, I was amazed because I was curious as to where were we with coming up with the request for a volcano school, and here you'd already designed and completed the project. So my hat's off to you.
Thank you.